Yeah. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the live portion of 88 Fitness
Hey
Channel
everyone.
YouTube. Every Sunday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. So, we're talking about what to eat to get huge.
That's right, huge.
Stay tuned. Check it out. This goes deep. I'm going to talk about a timeline. I don't know what Camille's going to talk about.
Well, let me just start off by saying you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. But if you're going to keep flip-flopping back and forth, that's not going to get you huge. So you either eat for that goal or you don't.
True. Very good. Very good point. Always do what's best for your goal.
Absolutely.
So we touched on it last week. If you want to be a bodybuilder, don't run a marathon. Don't even think about running a marathon. Think about getting muscles and gaining muscles. So back to eating what to get huge. All right. So young man, I was very skinny, very, very skinny. Couldn't gain weight for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Very skinny dude. I could eat all day, eat till I throw up, eat some more, and the scale still wouldn't go up. I know there's a lot of young men out there with the same issue. Believe me, I feel your pain, gentlemen. I feel your pain. So I didn't really put on weight until I went into the Army. And Army guys, infantry guys got the greatest answers of anybody. So, young man in the infantry, I'm going to the gym every day. I'm asking everybody, I want to get huge. I want to gain weight. Excuse me. I don't know who gave me this advice, but thanks, Raj. Thanks for watching, buddy. The advice was eat a loaf of bread a day, drink a gallon of milk a day, on top of what you're eating already. The loaf of bread, believe it or not, wasn't too bad. The Army's got white bread, wheat bread, raisin bread. Every meal, there's some kind of fresh bread out there for you. But the milk. Oh, the milk. Oh, I only made it about 3 days drinking a gallon of milk a day.
That's a lot of milk.
Because it was making me sick. So the milk didn't last very long. I stuck with the bread for probably 3 months. It worked. I put on about 5 pounds. Like I said, a young man, I could not put on weight for nothing. So, how'd you start out, Camille? And let me back up before we go to Camille. If you're already heavy, don't worry about gaining weight. Worry about tightening it up and toning up. You do not need to gain weight. You do not need to be fat. You do not need to be obese while you're bulking. Let's make that clear. Bulk is not an excuse to get fat. All right.
I think on the female side, it can be a little challenging, or really for anyone, just because of kind of like body dysmorphia and that kind of thing. So for me, like I definitely leaned out and I was like a little string being at 134 pounds. And when you wanted to like gain size, I knew I needed to eat, but I also had this like fear of gaining weight, because if you remember where I came from, I was like 214 pounds. I was obese. And I worked really hard for years to get that weight off and keep it off. So this thought of eating at a caloric surplus was really, really scary. And so that's why when I started off this video, I said, you either do it or you don't, but there is no in between. I flip-flopped a lot, right? So I would eat my surplus for a little while and then I would get scared and I would taper it back. And really, I didn't end up gaining any muscle size or anything, no matter how hard I worked in the gym. It was really until I committed to that goal of eating more and eating well, healthy things, that I was able to achieve that. But you are going to gain a little body fat when you're trying to gain size. And I mentally had to kind of wrap my mind around that and tell myself that that was okay.
Absolutely. You're going to get fluffy, not fat.
Yes.
Fluffy. We went to posing clinic a couple years ago, and just about everybody there was obese. I was embarrassed for them. I'm like, you guys are 5'5". You don't need to be 300 pounds in the off season and then diet down to 205.
Yeah, it's too much of a swing.
What are you doing? You don't need to be 95 pounds over your stage weight. That's ridiculous. So I think we got a little bit ahead of ourselves here. So let's talk about macros first. You got fats, carbs, proteins. I'm assuming you all know what those are, but we're going to touch them just in case. Protein's the most important. Helps recover, helps build muscle. To gain weight, carbs are way up there. Now, when you're bulking, carbs are very important. Fats stay the same just about throughout bulking, cutting. They stay the same. Fats don't really vary much.
In fact, you really don't want those to swing because that will affect your hormones and your metabolism. So keep it even keeled pretty much.
Yep. So when I'm bulking, my calories are broke down into percentage: 50% carbs, 30% protein, 20% fat. When we go into cutting, those percentages are going to change: higher protein, less carbs. So when you want to bulk, when you want to eat to get huge, eat your carbs. Anybody that comes to me and wants to gain weight, bread, potatoes, rice. Big time. Of course, you're tracking.
Absolutely.
And I don't have my phone here, but I use an app to track my meals, track my macros, track my calories. That goes back to putting the effort in to do that. So, number one, big time. If you want to gain weight, get big, carbs.
Yeah.
Make sure you get your protein covered, but throw as many carbs as you can.
Absolutely. And let's do quality carbs, everyone. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
James mentioned those things. Sweet potatoes are great. You know, you're not going to want to be like, all right, I'm going to have popcorn, Pop-Tart, cereal. Like, you know, you probably should do something a little more nutrient dense, I'll say, for those carbs.
Choose wisely. So empty carbs and empty calories are just that.
Right.
They're not helping you recover. They're not helping you nutritiously in any way whatsoever. They're empty. So pick nutrient-dense foods.
Absolutely.
But I mean, there's no reason to eat cakes, cookies, and that kind of stuff.
No.
There's a time and a place for everything, but keep
Right.
it to a minimum, even when you're bulking. Stick to nutrient-dense foods. All right, so the timeline. As a kid, I couldn't gain weight for nothing. Right around 35, that changed. Okay. So I can't get away with eating all I can eat anymore. I will gain weight pretty quickly. I'm now 46. I can't get away with eating, even on the weekends, going out and just eating all weekend, whatever I want. I can't get away with that anymore. As a young man, you can, and I could, but now that I'm older, I cannot. I have to track my calories. Right around 3,000 calories is my maintenance. So we know if we're bulking, we're going to start adding calories, 3,200, probably 3,400 the next week, 3,600, et cetera, until I'm getting a little too fluffy.
Right.
And say, whoa, we're getting fat. Let's pull it back now. But, you know, as a young man, if you can't gain weight, you just keep feeding your face. Literally, keep feeding your face. And I feel your pain, believe me. Skinny kid, I just kept eating, it couldn't gain weight for nothing. But as you get older, stick with it. You're going to gain weight if you stick with it. And as you get older, you're going to have to dial it back because you can no longer get away with eating all these things.
Absolutely.
I've been in the industry forever, and you run into somebody you haven't seen in a couple of years, and they all, you know, they blew up because they haven't been to the gym in a couple of years, but they're still eating the same way. You're like, whoa, dude. You need to get back to the gym, or you need to dial back those pizzas you're eating or something there.
That's a good point you mentioned. Like if we mentioned it, you don't need to gain a ton of weight to gain muscle size. I mean, really, it's just a small amount, a small surplus in your food will make a big difference. I mean, even as much as just like 50 extra calories sometimes can make a big difference. So it's not like you're, you know, all of a sudden stuffing your face full of this food. But like one thing that you got to realize is that you're going to reach a point where you've probably gained too much body fat. At this point, continuing to raise those calories up is no longer serving your purpose. And you either need to stay there and hover or maintain, or you need to take a break from the bulking and pull that back down.
Indeed. Good point. And again, if you're confused, a protein is meat, or let me put it to you this way. It's anything with eyeballs or anything that came from something with eyeballs. So eggs are a protein because it came from a chicken, which has eyeballs, right? Beef is protein because cows have eyeballs, right? Your fats are usually in your proteins, but you can find them sometimes in your carbs. Mm-hmm. And carbs is everything else. Vegetables, fruits, grains, breads.
Right.
They're all carbs, all of them.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to say your name. Garrido. I'm sorry if I'm messing it up,
Caesar.
But absolutely. That's Caesar. Hey, Caesar. Let's get big on the clean foods. You should be eating clean diet. You should be eating clean foods. Call me Caesar. All right,
Absolutely.
Caesar. Thanks for the comments. And I agree 100%. Eat the clean foods.
Yeah, I think there's this misconception, especially with bodybuilding communities, like, all right, I'm going to cut, so everything's going to be clean. And then it's bulking time. They're like, all right, let's go to Burger King and get that Whopper. It's not like that. So you really and a lot of times bulking's almost harder than being in season and trying to dial the weight down.
Can be.
Because you really do have to control it and find that balance and kind of harmony in the diet.
That's a great point, Caesar. Let's hit our classic weight cap. You got it. So Classic Physique has a height and a weight category, and you want to come in at the top of the weight category because you want to be big, big as the other guys who are coming in at the top of the weight category. So when you dial down, you want to plan to be right at the top of your weight limit.
Absolutely.
Great comment, Caesar. Great.
On some of the female categories, we don't have weight caps, but for a competitor that's doing something like bikini or wellness, they really don't need to gain more than 5-10 pounds over their stage weight because it's just too much body fat and it's too hard to take back off. Now, someone like a figure athlete or a female bodybuilder, maybe 15, 20 max, but any more than that, and it's just too much body fat that you've gained, and you really just need to kind of hover until it's time to cut down.
Right. And there's limits. We're talking about don't get too fat. So generally speaking, it's about 20, 30 pounds over your stage weight is basically your bulk weight.
I would say for males. For females, that might be too much.
And Caesar is 191 and pretty lean. That's great. That's diesel, right. Caesar. That's awesome, man. Good deal. I weighed in this morning at 221, and again, we're bulking, so we're looking to gain a pound, half a pound, maybe a pound and a half a week until May, and then it's going to be cut down till competition.
Absolutely. All right, so yeah, diet changes definitely. If bulk is your goal, you're going to want to put good nutrient-dense foods in there. So James kind of touched on it. James, why don't you go through kind of what a day of bulk eating looks like? Like describe earlier this week.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm at 3,000 calories, 50% carbs, 30% protein, 20% fat. So I put my food in the mornings. I know what I'm going to eat or the day before. So it always starts with a protein shake, a bagel with spray butter and honey, and a quarter cup of rice. There's a half cup.
It's a half cup.
And a half cup of rice. That's my breakfast. Meal 2 is also the same almost every day. It's protein shake, beets, and I get one piece of bread with that one. I just eat the bread. I don't even put spray butter on that. Lunch is something we prepare for that week. So this week it was either a burger on bread or I had steak wraps. So it was red meat with some carb source bread or a wrap. And then dinner, we had chicken breast. And then like I said before, I always eat cottage cheese at dinner, cottage cheese, yogurt, craisins. And then I get bonus because I have calories left and they're normally in the form of carbs. So as I'm putting my food in, I just keep adding carbs until I get to 3,000 calories. And then I double check the percentages to make sure they're on point. If they're not, I make some more adjustments. So I'm adding bread, bananas, peanut butter, rice cakes, et cetera, to hit my numbers at dinner.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of nice for him to be able to eat those types of things before bed because when he wakes up and hits the gym the next morning, those glycogen stores are full. He's got the energy. He sleeps well, so he can really hit that next day as intense as he needs to.
Yeah.
So that works well.
Good point. If you have trouble sleeping, save your carbs for dinner. It helps you sleep. I've had trouble sleeping my whole life. If I can eat more at dinner before I go to bed, it helps.
Yeah. So my bulk diet's kind of similar. First meal, protein shake, part of a banana and a couple rice cakes. That's usually like my post-workout right after I'm done working out. Next meal is some type of like oatmeal mixed with more whey protein. And I'll put maybe a couple raisins or something in there. It's one of my favorites. In fact, we have a video on how to make that. It's like protein oats. Then from there for lunch, it was kind of similar this week. I think I had like a turkey burger on bread. That's it. And then for dinner, it's usually, I still have some carbs, usually a little less. So I'll do like a salad with my chicken. Because yes, salad are carbs, but I love them. They make you feel full. So yeah, that works for me. And that's kind of what my day of bulking looks like.
Yep. Tastes good too. So you can get away with more caloric dense foods while you're bulking. That's why the red meat.
Yes.
If I was cutting, it's fish, turkey, or chicken, because they're lower calorically and dense, but you still get the same amount of protein. So you're getting the same protein with less calories. But I'm bulking, so I want the calories. So we're going to eat a lot of pork and a lot of red meat for the next 2 months.
Yeah, I think you touched on it. Like if I'm, all right, well, I didn't really gain a whole lot of weight. I want to push the envelope. I just start adding more carbs. So a second slice of bread, a little more of the oatmeal in the morning, that sort of thing. My diet's pretty simple. I keep it pretty simple, pretty clean. I try not to have all of this, but really complicated recipes and things. For me, it's just easier to track and stay accountable.
Agreed. And we haven't mentioned pasta. But pasta is another great carb. It just jacks my stomach up. That's why I don't eat it. But it's a great carb. If you can eat it, it's another source to gain weight. I mean, that's a good one. Pasta and bread, in my opinion, are the best to gain weight if you want to gain weight. And bread's easy. Easy. Add a slice.
Absolutely.
You got calories and you need more carbs, add a slice of bread. It's that easy.
Yeah, we always have some kind of like rice cake, bread, some kind of wrap, some of the like lower carb wraps, like depending on how many grams of carbs we have left, we can usually fit it in. It is kind of a weird way of eating. It's not like, growing up when you have these like very well-planned meals. It's more like, how can I maximize these nutrients today, and what do I need to add in there to get to my level? So it can be a little weird, or people think it's a little weird sometimes.
Yeah. Caesar just put up cream of rice, which is another great example. We don't eat it. I don't like it very much, but there's many bodybuilders that eat the heck out of cream of rice. Another great carb. Oatmeal's another one. Again, I don't eat oatmeal, jacks my stomach up, but Camille eats oatmeal almost every day.
Yeah, cream of rice is a weird consistency for me. I can't get past that.
I tried it once or twice, and it didn't really do it for me. Same with grits. I don't really like grits.
I like those. I could eat those.
Cream of rice, cream of wheat, grits, I don't really like anything. Plus, we keep it simple. All I got to do is open a loaf of bread and eat some bread.
Right.
I don't have to cook nothing. I don't have to prep nothing. It's gravy. Right on.
That's right. Make those gains.
So, to eat to get huge, track it. Put the effort in to track it. That way you know what you eat,
right,
what your maintenance calories are, 3,000, right, and what you got to add to gain weight.
Absolutely.
And again, do not get fat. Do not. It's bodybuilding. It's physique sport. Don't get fat. There's no reason to get fat, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get fat.
Let me caveat that though. Don't get a week into your bulk and panic because you're like, my six-pack's starting to blur. Like, that's going to happen. So commit to that goal and stick it out. But over time, if you are gaining too much body fat, you do need to pull it back.
So those of you that don't know, Camille was just talking to me. I get a little fluffy and I go, oh my goodness, I got to pull calories back.
Yeah.
But you got to keep in mind, this is a long game and you got to do what's best for you, right, for your end goal.
Exactly.
So if my six-pack fades, which it's going to, I know it's going to, and it's going to bother me, I know it's going to, but I have to keep driving forward, making them gains in order to get bigger and better.
He's right. We just went through this. We were getting ready to go to a vacation in Florida, and he, of course, wanted that chiseled six-pack on the beach. And we had to have that conversation like, hey, what's the long-term goal? We're bulking here. We can't just stop in the middle of the bulk to do a cut, without reason. So
yeah, and she talked about it last week. She was calling me out last week as well, because I did do the cut for the beach vacation, which I shouldn't have, because the goal is the competition in August, September.
Right.
So I should have kept bulking all the way through, but I knew we were going to the beach. I knew we were going to take pictures. No excuse. Camille was right. She called me out again.
Sorry.
But going forward, I will not do that again. It's the goal, the end goal. You got to keep in mind, not the short term, and don't sacrifice short term for long term goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Caesar.
Yep.
To get bigger, there's compromises that have to be made, and they're usually in the appearance of your physique.
Yep. So I don't have two sets of clothing, but I know a lot of people that do, bulking and cutting clothes. I just wear big clothes. I don't care. They're baggy when I cut.
Yeah, no, my closet runs from like size 4 to 10, depending on where I'm at. Part of that's probably just my job. I have to dress very professional, so I can't have, my pants falling off or anything like that.
True. All right. So to recap, protein. Always cover your protein needs. That's number one for muscle building. Carbs. If you want to get huge, eat carbs and eat a lot of them. Add them to your diet. If you're not gaining weight, add more carbs. If you're not gaining weight, add more carbs. Fats, keep around the same. And again, put the effort in to track it. There's so many apps out there, it's too easy. I use FitnessPal, my FitnessPal, the free version because I'm not paying for it. And it tracks everything.
The paid version's awesome, but yeah, I agree.
And there's other apps out there that are free as well. I got clients that use different apps and they're just as good as well. And it goes back to being tedious and putting in the effort.
Absolutely.
You gotta track it to know what to add or subtract.
Absolutely.
Depending on how you look, how the scale is, how you look in the mirror, how your clothes are fitting, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're working with a trainer and they're giving you a meal plan or something like that, you definitely want to look at what's in there and still measure it. Like if you're saying, you got a sweet potato on your meal plan and you just go grab a sweet potato at the grocery store, it may be too big, it may be too small. I mean, you really need to be tracking like the weight of these things that you're eating.
Yeah, bananas, small, medium, large.
They're all different.
Eggs, small, medium, large.
So you might be thinking you're getting all of your carbs in for the day, but really you're like significantly under because you didn't measure out that food.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So eat what you can. If you're a skinny young man, I feel your pain. Believe me. Eat big, lift big. That's
Absolutely.
the answer. And again, cover your protein. Eat your carbs. Keep eating them carbs. Loaf of bread a day works.
It's a lot of bread.
It's a lot of bread, but it works. Just in case all you hard gainers out there, all you skinny kids like I was, can't gain a pound, get your loaf of bread. It's cheap. It's easy. Just keep eating.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We appreciate you. We appreciate the live feedback that we're getting there.
Thanks, Caesar. That was awesome, man. Those comments were great.
Absolutely. And stay tuned for next week. Next week, we're going to go through workout splits. So we'll definitely share ours, and then we'll go through some different ones and different options depending on what your goal is.
All right. We got a question. What are your thoughts on potatoes?
They're great.
Wonderful. White potatoes, sweet potatoes, all the above. They're another good quality source of carbs.
Absolutely.
They're not empty carbs. You're not eating a Twinkie. You're eating a potato. There's vitamins and minerals, the carbs. It's good carbs.
Sweet potato is probably my favorite because I always have a sweet tooth, so that gives me that little bit of sweet without, eating some kind of pastry or something.
I like sweet potatoes better as well, but I'll eat white potatoes, red potato, any of them. Yep.
Absolutely.
And they're easy to eat, like Caesar said.
And they don't cost a whole lot either.
And they're cheap. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, we're live every Sunday, 6 a.m. Eastern. If you want to check us out, if you got any questions, anything you want to go over, leave us a comment. This channel's for you. We're here to help. Get out there and eat to get huge.
That's right.
All right.
Bye.